Hello, my dear lovely folks. Welcome back to the show. When I say back, I mean that we did one show with my good friend Stephen Hundley talking about how we want to start young. Right. We got lots of response. With the amazing part, the responders are young men, young people, young boys, young girls. They are quite interested in the plan how they want to start young. All right. That's why I say welcome back to the show. You happen to be watching this? Okay, please, you are welcome to join the party. The party is going to be lots of fun. So to Steve, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks for having me.
Very good, very good. It was about 2 weeks and a half ago, Steve and I, oh, by the way, Steve, he's a financial analyst and he's a investment planner. Advisor, my big backbone that I rely upon him. Yeah. Even though I make very few dollars, very little amount, I still want to do it scientifically and smartly, and he is the one. So, see, last show was received so well that I decided to do it in a rush, while still piping hot, right? While our young people still are interested. What happened was that last show, Steve recommended that if you want to start young, you want to be rich, you better start young. Right. How young? Suppose if you're 20, 20-something, 21, 22 years old, fresh off college, you want to even start from that point on. And then, all the way, he can guarantee that it will make you a millionaire by the time you retire if you did so. So I'll save that actual plan to Steve, and I believe he has quite a list in his bucket today. So once again, welcome. Let's start it. Okay. So let's start it to the very point, the plan that my young responders felt like so much. Okay. So I want you to start it again because there are people, there are young folks who might have seen this show for the first time.
Okay, so what we talked about last time is this, it's very simple mathematics that if you take $75 a month.
$75 a month.
And you put it away at 5% per year for 30 years, you get $1 million.
That's a coffee a day, something like that.
That's right. So that's and when you're young, that's how you need to think about it. You don't think about it in terms of dollars. You think about it in terms of, like you just said, like it's one latte a day. Okay, maybe instead of having 2 lattes, you have 1 latte a day.
Depends where you go.
Or it's a cheeseburger.
Yeah, if you want to go to Starbucks, though, this is just one a day.
Right. So, you know, it's a simple strategy. And once you get in the habit of doing it, and you start realizing that, you know, you start looking at your account summary and going, oh my gosh, you know, now I've got $50,000 or $100,000 or whatever into it, and it just begins to feed off of itself, is what it actually does. And you get into the rhythm of saving up, it's not as painful as people think. I think where people, especially young people, get painful is they look around and go, okay, I've got student debt, I maybe have a girlfriend, or I just got married, I have a baby,
and the baby goes to school, and my student loan still there, needs to be paid off. I work my butt off till I'm 40, 45 years old to pay it off. So.
And I'm all these pressures of I've got to get the newest cell phone. I've got to get you know, advertising. I got to get the newest car. You got to get the newest jeans and all that stuff.
They're gonna burden up.
But you know, if you just break it down simply, I'm not asking. You're not saying you're going to put $100,000. You're going to save up $100,000 and invest it. What you're actually saying is you're just going to do a little bit at a time, and a little bit at a time, because you have the one thing that people who are older do not have. You have time. You have, when you're 22, 23, 25 years old, you know, you're going to live another 70 years, so 80 years, whatever.
And over time, the 70 years, that pays it.
Yeah, the money's going to pay. So yeah, you start with a little bit.
The money grows.
The money continues to grow.
Not only on the interest itself, but the interest grows.
Right. is it multiplies. It multiplies on itself. In other words, you get 5% on $100. 5% is $5. Now you got $105. Well, now 5% of $105 is, it goes on and on and on. It's
50 is one is 105 to the power of X Y Z years.
And it's the technical term is called the time value of money, but let's leave that alone. It's just the fact that once money begins to grow, then it begins to feed off of itself. If you think about it in those terms, and as you continue to put more money in, the value of your account continues to grow and to grow and to grow.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much. I really appreciate. Right after the show, I told my son about what you and I did the last show. He's 22 years old. I told him, if you want to start from your 22nd year, by the time you're my age, you're more than a millionaire yourself.
Right.
He wouldn't believe it. And he started putting out in a calculator and did the calculation himself. Yeah. Wow, amazingly, it was correct.
Yeah.
Right. So that at least motivated one young man to see, oh, that's the way. Exactly. They are being the target of all the commercials.
Right.
Right?
Oh, yes.
All right. Everybody wants their money.
You bet.
Right? And you get a cell phone, you want a software. You got a software, you want a beautiful case. So it goes on and on and on and on. So you keep on spending without thinking of you being a millionaire. Because to them, the philosophy is that millionaire, you got to be joking. I'm far away, zillions of miles away from millionaire. Right? Yeah. In your philosophy, your way, or your tactic, it is not that far away. Am I right?
I'm not. Yeah. Because time, as you know, I'm a little older than in my 20s. Time catches up with you. One day you're looking around, you're 30 years old, or then you're 40, then you're 50, then you're 60, or whatever you are. But it does catch up with you, and if you let those years slip away, and no money's been put aside, and money. Okay, I had to have that lot, and I had to have the new phone, and I knew I had to have this, and I had to have that.
There's always a reason to spend money.
Yeah, there's only so much opportunity. Okay, and if you understand that you take that opportunity, and if you don't see it, you just put the money away and you don't see it. It's money that's
just pretend you've never seen that account of dollars.
I've never seen my $75 a month. I never see it. And then that money continues to grow off itself. It's money that you're not using for.
And by the way, you're talking about money grow. Does the money grow versus the depreciation of dollars? Was that taken into consideration?
You're not looking
on the index.
Yeah, you're not looking at. You're just trying to get a gross amount of money, a target amount of money. Okay, you're not looking at inflation. You're not looking. That gets too complicated. And the last thing you want to do with a person who's in their 20s, like your son, is to make it really complicated. Say, okay, what happens if the dollar devaluates against the Chinese currency, or what? You want to make it simple. You want to make it understandable, and you want to have this big prize at the end of the game. It's $1 million.
After the show, you and I, can we sit down to establish an account for my son for $75?
Sure.
We can do that?
Yeah, it's simple to do.
We can do this even as of today.
Yeah, you can do it today.
Okay,
anytime.
Very good. That sounds very good.
Yeah. Okay.
So my dear audience, is never too late to learn, except the fact that between me and a young man, what I have, they don't have. What they have, I don't have. Yeah. But the sorry part is that they have time, I don't.
Yeah.
Right? They have a bunch of time on hand I don't have. Right. But the thing is that you don't want to squander that time.
That's right.
You want to make a good use of the time. My point is, my problem is that I didn't make a good use of my time. When it's gone, it's gone. And then when you realize, oh, now I understand everything, I'm sorry, you lost your time.
Right.
That kind of philosophy.
Exactly.
Right. And with my good friend, Steve Humley, we're touching base to the very basic, how our young men can take care of themselves.
Right.
I mean, instead of relying upon your parents, which is very, very, very true and quite norm today.
Right. Unfortunately,
Why don't you start yourself, right?
Right.
Okay, that's a good way. And I believe that you have come over today with lots of other plans to recommend to young men who are so interested. They never write to me. They don't care. Now this time they do.
Great.
They write to me and they say, Uncle Jack, they say that, Uncle Jack, I'm 21 years old and I want to start young.
Right.
Like that kind of thing.
Right.
I believe that you have a bunch of plans that you want to.
Some ideas for them. Yeah.
Okay, good. So you want to give them some, please?
Okay. Well, let's take a look at probably the simplest retirement plan that's out there right now is an IRA, an individual retirement account, or 401k. Sometimes they have it through work. Sometimes they don't. It's just, or they have what they call an SEP, which is a simple employment plan. All it is this. It's a mechanism to put money away. That's right. You put money away into this fund, and the fund can be, it's usually invested in mutual funds. Usually you don't do anything that's really risky. But okay, so you put it into a funds where you can make 5%, which is probably conservative, I think. Okay, and then you put in the great thing about it is if you're young, like an invest in an IRA, and you take money out, you get penalized for that. You get 10% penalty, which is you get slapped. Is what you do.
Okay.
So it encourages you to keep the money in there. The money continues to grow. You can.
Oh, by the way, to the plan, to the $1 million plan, the time when they retire to get to the $1 million, are they taxable?
Okay, depends on what they're doing. It depends on like if they're using an IRA, yeah, it's taxable. What's taxable is not so much the money you put in; it's the money that the money earned. Okay.
The extra money that you earn.
That it earned. So you pay. Right now, today, what's called capital gains tax, which is about 15%. There are other vehicles you can use that will get money that are what's called tax deferred. Tax deferred is always pushing a tax out into the future. And the reason you do that is because money is less valuable in the future. If I gave you $1 today, and I gave you $1 30 years from now, would you buy more
I
of?
would want today.
Right. It's the same situation. So there are vehicles that where you can it's called deferring the tax. Okay?
Push it away. Kick the can.
Yeah, kick the can down the road. The taxes are going to be paid, but going to be paid in dollars that have less value than they do today. Or you can use things where you're tax-free. There are some retirement plans. I'll give you a great example. One is called a Roth IRA. Roth, by the way, is named after the congressman who came up with this, I think, 30 years ago.
Okay, let's take a moment right here. When we come back, we pick up the rock.
Roth. R-O-T-H.
Roth. Hello, dear folks, my lovely audience. Welcome back to the discussion about how to make yourself rich. How to make yourself rich while starting young.
Right.
With my good friend, Steve Hundley, financial analyzer and investment consultant, we're sharing his beautiful mind with you about how you want to do that. So last note, 2.5 weeks ago, we had a show talking about how our young people could start early. And we got quite a response from the young people, which is the first time, because normally when I talk about politics, they don't even care. So this time, no. This time they do care. They wrote me asking for more. So that's why we're here. With Steve, we're touching base with him, and he is kind of putting a stuff out of his bucket that he believes the young people would like. And you mentioned Roth, right? So
R-O-T-H.
what is Roth?
Okay,
please?
Roth, R-O-T-H IRA is a special tool that you can use to be able to get tax-free money in the future.
In the end.
Right. Roth, by the way, is named after the congressman who came up with this. What it is this. It's an individual retirement account. If a person, and believe me, when you're young, you can own this. Your mother doesn't have to own it. Your dad can. You're in control of it. Okay, so what you do is you take your money and you've already paid taxes on this money. In other words, you take it after your paid taxes. So if you get a paycheck, they take all the taxes out first, right?
All right.
When you get a paycheck, you work somewhere.
Yes.
Okay, what's left
and
over?
the check you receive, it is the after-tax money.
That's right. So you take your after-tax money, now you invest it into a Roth IRA, okay? And down the road,
it is a Roth ROTH.
ROTH. Okay. Down the road, let's say you get to be 65, okay, as an example. Now you can take that money out tax-free. Now there's some stipulations, all right? You can't just you can't just go in, put money in, pull it out. It's not designed to do that.
It's one way.
Yeah, one way.
Like CD.
Because you put the money in, and if you take it out, you get penalized very severely, like 10%.
I see.
The other thing is, and you need to know that there's a, just so you know, when you get older, there's a break at 50. In other words, before the age of 50, the most you can put into is $5,500 a year. After the age of 50, they give you what's called a catch-up. Catch-up means that you get an extra $1,000. That's not relevant. If I'm a young person, I'm a young guy, I'm 22 years old, okay? I'm working a job, I get a paycheck for $1,000 a week, and I look at the paycheck, and after everybody takes their taxes, I got $700. Okay, I can take $75 of that. Like I said, it works the same way. Put it into my Roth IRA, put it in investments in mutual funds or what have you, whatever it is invested in, and then watch it grow. Now I've turned 65 years old, okay? I got $1 million sitting in this, I got $1 million sitting here. I start taking the money out.
I see.
I start taking out tax free. I take a chunk of it out, I take a little bit out. With a Roth, it's a little different too. You don't ever have to take the money out. You can just leave it and give it to your children if you want to. But a Roth is a great tool because, again, the taxes have already been paid. You're still going to earn your money.
In that case, what's the difference between the first plan you recommended last time and the plan here and the Roth?
The difference is taxation. When you have an individual retirement account, they take the money out. You're making your $1,000 a week, right? You can take the money out before you pay the tax. When you're down the road and you take the money out, they're taxing you on what that money earned. A Roth doesn't do that. Okay, 4K is very popular. There's billions in.
A Roth, you're saying Roth emphasizes on the fact that the money you put in are the tax.
You've already paid taxes.
Already paid tax, right?
Right. A 401k, you don't have to.
If I earn $100, this $100 has to pay tax for, like, say, 15.
Right.
And the 85. So with the 85, I see a check of 85.
Right.
Out of the 85, I give you, say, another $15 to start the Roth with.
Right.
I see.
But see, that is another way of saving it, because you know the government's going to take their money, just the way it's done. But a Roth is a great tool. Another great tool for savings, it has a tremendous tax advantage, is life insurance.
Life insurance.
Now, I know your viewers are young. They're going to say, I'm a young person. I don't need $1 million policy. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about some big $10 million policy that's going to, no. What we're talking about, there's a life insurance that's called, the technical term is called, I don't really like it, but it's called permanent life insurance. In other words,
permanent life insurance.
Yeah, okay, I don't really like that term. What it is this, okay? You get a life insurance policy. I'm going to use you as an example, if I may. You're the insured person. In other words, you own it. I own the policy, and I also am the insured of the policy. What you're trying to do is not really get a big death benefit. That's not really important. What you're trying to do is get a whole pile of cash into that policy. Now, when you take that money out, it comes out tax tax-free.
Uh-huh.
It's a great tax advantage. Now, there's only one little thing you need to understand. When you take the money out, you can't take all of it. The reason is very simple. If you take all the money out of a cash, you changed it from a very tax-advantaged life insurance policy to a very untax advantaged investment. And when there's an investment, you pay 15% capital gains tax, which is a no-no. So, okay, you say, well, I can't do this. I'm a young person. I have several clients now who have done this, who say, okay, I buy a life insurance on myself. I own it on myself. I own it. When you own a life insurance policy, by the way, you're the only one who can make decisions about it. You don't like the beneficiary, change it. You don't, you put the money in, you keep putting the money. You've already paid taxes on this money.
Yeah.
You keep putting that money in, watching it grow, watching it grow, watching it grow. You get to a certain, what they do now, they're so sophisticated. They can show you, they call it an illustration. It's actually a presentation of what the policy looks like. You put so much money in, you stop it when, let's say you're 50 or 60 years old. Well, if you're 25, you stop it at 55, that's 30 years, right? You stop it at 55, you're done. You want to start taking the money, you can take it out at 65 and get it for the rest of your life. And then you still have a life insurance policy, which means if you have children,
If something happens, it still pays.
Oh, they have to, yeah. So there's still a death benefit for your children or your legacy or whatever.
I see.
So that is a great tool.
In other words, a life insurance that can be used for a saving account.
Exactly. That's what it's used for, and we use it all.
It's double feature.
Right. So the death benefit is kind of a bonus. If you think of it, it's a bonus because it's going to be there. It has to be there. But what
people die anyway. People do die anyway.
But what you're trying to do is you're saying, okay, I'm going to get all this cash together.
If I buy this kind of thing for my son, for example, I'm the owner, he's the covered.
Right.
Right? So who gets the money? I get the money or my son gets the money?
You're the owner. You're
the owner gets the money.
Yeah, the owner gets the money. So if your son wanted to buy it, your son could be the owner. Your son can be the insured.
But the father still have the right to sign him.
If your son, if let's go back to these young people we're talking about today. They want to own the policy. They own it. They own the policy. They're the beneficiary. They're the trustee.
Themselves.
They're themselves, and then the law says you have to have a beneficiary. It can be grandma or whatever you want it to be, but you have no say over it. If your parent,
you can't transfer.
Let's say your son is the owner and the insured, and you come to him and you say, "Give me the policy." Doesn't work like that. You own one of the few things in life where you have absolute control over is a life insurance policy if you own it, which is nice because if you're young and you're going to make changes and your life's going to change, right?
But in the first example that I gave you, suppose I had this thing for my son.
Right.
I'm the owner. My son is the insured.
Right.
Right. So at the time when I pass away, whatever, could I leave it to him?
You certainly can.
Can.
You bet you can.
So in other words,
it becomes what's called the beneficiary.
For a name transfer or just name him as a beneficiary.
Yeah, you would name him as the beneficiary.
So
if something happens to you, the money immediately goes right to your son.
That's him. The son is the covered.
Son is covered. Okay, if something happens
to him,
there's got to be another beneficiary, which will probably be you.
I see.
Or it could be charity or whoever.
Yeah, this could be recommended to lots of parents to their kids.
Right.
Right. And if they want, they can still help their kids.
They can
putting money in it while they can, and someday when the kids start making money themselves, they will continue. Right.
And now the parents own the policy. They can set it up. I'm not going to get too complicated, but they can set it up so that when they pass away, the money is wrapped up in a trust, and I can't give you legal advice because I'm not an attorney, and then that money immediately goes to who the beneficiary is, which I would assume is going to be, you know,
I see.
Or whoever if it's
Okay, let's take a very short moment now that looks at it's getting better as we talk. Well, so there are lots of plans to go. Well, maybe my young audience, my young friends will all like that, with or without the help of their parents. Hello, my dear folks. Welcome back to the discussion about money. I'm no money man, but I do need lots of money. If you say, who is the one that needs most money in the world, the answer is me, right? But, well, there are ways for money to be saved, because you have to earn money, right? You have to save it before you can dispatch. Right? And the other reason we do this show, do this discussion, is the fact that we noticed that nowadays our young people, they kind of like, do not think that way.
Right.
It's a conceptual mistake not to start young. They get used to borrow money from credit because they have a big mother, a big father. They can support them, and they provide them with a big card that they can keep swapping. They never know where money goes, where money grows, right? So like that. Education-wise, it is necessary. So when we're talking about using life insurance as another vehicle to save money, to see money accumulated by the time you retire or need it, right? Okay.
Correct.
So continue, please.
Well, okay. If your son is if the person who's the insured, and the parents own the policy, okay, and they live long enough, and the child lives long enough, you start taking the money out, and you.
But not everything you mentioned.
No. The way you set it up is you say, okay, I know that I don't want to pay on this policy anymore at age 50. I'm done. I'm finished. Okay, so you set it up. So you pay to age 50. And then you say, I'm going to retire at age 60, so you let it, I think of it as percolating, let it grow, and then at age 60 you take it out for the rest of your life.
Tax-free?
Tax-free. Because you're not taking all of it. Remember, I said you're not taking all of it.
I see.
Okay.
Now, and then at 60, when you take everything out, of course you take everything out.
Yeah, but let's say that something happens. Let's say you buy the policy at 20, at 35 years old, you have the insured has a wife, 2 kids, the owner of the policy is the folks. The folks want to help you buy a house. Very common.
All right.
So you can go to that policy, and now you can take some of that cash out that you're going to use for your future. So it gives you a little more flexibility here.
I see. And at the end of the very contract, life insurance contract, a guy decides, okay, I'm done with it. Let me get all the money. So is that a time point when it's taxed?
No, it's not.
No.
As long as you're not taking out all of the cash.
No. He wants to take all the cash. Say, hey, let's terminate it.
No. What happens when you terminate it is this. You say, oh, I got $100,000 in cash in this policy. I want to take it all. Okay. Okay. If you do take it all, it becomes an investment, which is taxed at 15%, and all of the nice stuff about a life insurance policy kind of goes away.
Okay.
So it's how you use it. Also, another thing about this is you really get a chance to educate the young person on it, because they're not aware of what is available to them. Because when I was in college, they never talked about life insurance or 401ks or annuities or any of that stuff. So I try to educate people, say, let's just make an intelligent decision. Make sure you understand what you're looking at. And I have had many times in my career asked people, new clients, do you have life insurance? As an example, yeah, let me take a look at it. Look at it and they go, okay, they don't understand what they're buying. They don't understand what they have. And a lot of people are like that. So it enriches their lives because now they understand what they're doing.
I understand. In this very example, if this father says, okay, now, this father dies,
Right.
okay? That insurance the father buys with the father as the owner,
Right.
with the son as the covered.
As the insured, yeah.
All right. If the father dies, this continues with the son's name, right?
What will happen is this: the father owns it. The son is the insured. The father dies. Okay, the insured son's still alive. The life insurance policy, if it's handled correctly by an attorney, will place that life insurance policy into a trust.
To a trust.
Right. And then probably the best way to do it.
I
and
see.
then the life insurance policy continues on
Still
until the
continue.
insured dies. But the estate of the father would probably own it. Or,
Okay,
or
now-
he could transfer the
Now,
ownership
if
to his
say
son.
if the insured lives 75 years old,
Right,
right? By the age of 70, he said, "Well, I want to enjoy the money.
right.
You let me terminate it."
Okay,
He
so-
takes all the money out
okay,
to spend for his next 5 years,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Now, is that money taxable?
Yes. It's
It is.
taxable at 15%. If you take all of it,
15.
remember, we're taking all of it. So
Uh-huh.
if you take all of it, you're taxed at 15%.
What if he leaves $2 in the account?
No. The rule is about 70%. You are allowed to take up to 70% of the
70%.
cash in a life insurance policy.
And that 30% still continues
Oh yeah, still continue
until when?
until you die, till the insured dies.
The insured dies, and the insurance says, "I have a daughter."
Yeah. But what
Right?
happens is too, if
It continues from that point on with the daughter?
I'm not following what
No,
you're
no. If the insured dies, right?
Right.
Okay. And before death, he takes about 75 out of the account to enjoy. The 30% remaining there. And that is the moment he dies.
Right.
And then he has a daughter, for example.
Yeah.
The daughter does the daughter continue with 30% of it?
Yeah, the
And
daughter,
who is up to 30%?
whatever what's called the beneficiary. Let's say the daughter's the beneficiary.
Yeah.
She gets the money. So she would get whatever money's left over in the cash, plus whatever the death benefit is.
And if she says, "I want to continue with the 30%, go ahead, I'll put my
No,
money
done.
in."
Done.
Called off.
Because the insured died.
Uh,
When the insured died, all
I
bets
see.
are off. It's over. You can't just, Uncle Sam will not allow you to
But
continue it.
while the father is still alive, he could name the daughter as one of the beneficiaries.
You bet he could.
In that case, the policy continues. Am I
Well,
right?
no, not really. What would happen is if the daughter is the beneficiary, the payoff would go to the daughter. That's it. The contract doesn't continue. I think that's what you're asking. Does it? She's not insured. She's just paid off.
I see.
So they pay the death benefit to her. They pay the cash. They're finished.
But it's always good to start the same thing with the same pattern with his daughter.
Right. Now he can
Buy
go
another one.
He can go to his daughter.
Yeah, buy
And
another
now
one.
he goes to his daughter. Makes his daughter the insured. Sets up his daughter for the future.
I see.
He dies. The daughter's or she dies. The benefit. There's a lot of ways to do
I
this.
see.
But it's
okay.
a lot of so you're doing two things at the same time. You're protecting the family, and you're also building towards a very solid financial future
Very
that's
good,
not
very good.
taxed. So life insurance has a lot of variables to it.
All right. So in other words, we have RA, we have Roth,
Right.
we have life insurance.
Right.
Okay. Anything else in your bucket?
Well, when you're working with a young person and they're looking at things, sometimes they want to trade stocks. They want to like get in there and buy the hottest stock that's going on to it. And I actually allow them to do that. The reason is you take a small percent of their money, not maybe 5%, and allow them to understand, because you want people to understand how the financial world works. Okay, when stocks go up, somewhere it's going to go down. If you're
Of course,
trading,
yes.
if you're trading, even though the stock market is the worldwide stock market is very electronically driven, still deal with human beings. Human beings are still driving.
You're right. Manipulating.
So you have a little bit that they can earn that they can say, okay, I think that my cousin told me that this stock is really good. Well, then I can say to them, okay, how do you know it's good? Where can you look at that information? Where can you see it? Once they see that information and they learn how to look at a stock or look at a chart.
There's education. Once again, education. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's a small percentage of their portfolio, 5%, you know, that's great. And you still advise them how to do it, how to make a trade, how trades are done, and all that. But I think in the long run, it really helps because they open their eyes and they're going, well, and then they're calling you saying, I just saw in the news that such and such is being
There's a process of learning, the process of education is always good, right?
The smarter you get into the future, the better decisions you make financially.
All right, very good. And anyway, all the 3 or 4 options that you pull out from your bucket are better than saving accounts. You go to the bank and knock at the door and say, I want to start a saving account that pays, I don't know how much saving account interest is.
1.5% right now.
1.5. That's almost nothing.
Okay, well, but think about it like this, and I'm not knocking banks. Banks are very important. There's some big banks out there. Okay, when you put money in a savings account, what you're actually doing is this. You're taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back. This is what I mean.
All right, say it
For
again.
every dollar you put in, okay, when you put money into a savings account, it earns interest. That interest is taxable. You get, so it costs you, for every dollar you put in, it costs you another $1 in taxation. $2 in taxation. It also, if you put money in, let's say you put $1 in, inflation is running at 3% right now, roughly 3%. So now you're taking 1 step forward, 3 steps back. 1 step forward, 3 steps back. Because you're paying taxes on the money that it's earning. You're also, the buying power of that dollar is getting less and less and less and less.
It's restricted and also getting less and less.
Yeah, and you know, banks are, they'd be more than happy to take your money, but if you're getting 1.5% and inflation is running at 3%, and they're taxing you at, let's say 1%, okay? So you earn 1.5% and you pay 4%.
You mean 4? 4, yes.
You pay 4%. So why would you do that?
I see.
That doesn't make any mathematical or logistical sense.
Okay.
But they'll say, but the argument is the bank is safe. Okay, a bank is safe up to $100,000.
Yeah, it is safe. Yeah, it is safe. But okay, now mentioning safe though, let's take a short time out.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll talk about the risk versus safety.
Okay.
Right. So with all the offers laid down, we'll see which is the safest, which is the most kind of Hello, my dear folks. Welcome back to the show. Me and my friend, Stephen Hunley, a financial specialist, are having a very good time. Especially me, I'm kind of like feeling that I'm learning. This is a brand new area. I'm no money man myself. Never short of money. Never rich. This is me. Right? I've never, well, okay, anyway, then stop talking about me, right? Okay. I found those suggestions, recommendations, those plans very workable for our young people who I care a lot, who I designed this show for, because I've noticed that they kind of lead to a little lifestyle that's very controversial. Right. With the parental support they rely upon, what if someday the parental support cuts off? What if someday happens to the parents, right? And then in the meantime, while relying on parents, you are not learning enough skills to manage yourself. Suppose you could, and then when you started to do that, and it's many, many years has gone already, gone by already, you waste your time. I just now said what I have, you young people might not have, But what you have, I absolutely do not have,
Right.
which is time. Right now, after checking all these options, say RRA, IRA,
Right.
all right, the Roth,
Right.
the life insurance,
Right.
and little investment,
Right.
conservative investment,
Right.
versus the bank saving, all five,
Right.
right? Okay, now, and we're all talk about risk,
Okay.
right? On the board of risk, the word the risk though, how do you assess the five, please?
I think, first of all, let me go back to about education. If you understand the different vehicles, the Roth and the 401k and all that stuff, and you understand that there's always going to be risk. There's risk in breathing. There's risk sitting here doing this television show. There's risk in everything. It's how you monitor the risk and what you're willing to take. Everybody in life has a level of risk that they can tolerate. Everybody does.
Risk tolerance.
Some people think nothing of taking all their money out and going to a crap table in Vegas and roll the dice.
Yeah.
Some people, and I've seen it, do take every dollar they ever earn and stuff it in the mattress. Okay, some people are scared. The question is, if you're a professional and you're working with somebody, to look at them and say, what's your level of risk? And try to get an understanding. Some people are very risk tolerant. Some people are scared to death. Some people, okay, whatever your risk is, you need to understand where you are. Once you understand where you are, then you can look at okay, what is the best vehicle to get what I want?
You compare the amount of risks.
Yeah, the amount of risk that you're willing to take, okay? And believe me, a professional will not force you to take extra risk. If you say to me, Steve, I'm scared to death of everything except government bonds, I'm going to put you in government bond. But so you understand your level of risk. You're comfortable with that, okay? And I understand as a professional your level of risk, okay? Then we say, okay, if your level of risk is this, then there's I recommend you do 3 different things. And this is what the risk is. This is what the track record is. Everything, when I say a track record, you look at what's the history of it.
Oh, I see, the risk history.
Right, how long is this, like like an insurance, like we were talking about life insurance. There's life insurance companies that have been around since the 1850s that have $1 trillion, that are going to pay the claim. So what's your level of risk? How comfortable are you? Here's your vehicles, and then understand what the risks happen. Because things go up and things go down. That's just a fact of life. In everything, probably the most risk-free investment in the world is U.S. government bond. But they still go up and down because
the bond has very little interest.
Yeah, but a bond is also being traded every day too. So so there's risk.
The value fluctuates.
Yeah. So if you understand your risk, you understand what you're investing in. You believe me, you feel a lot more comfortable about it. So when things go wrong, or when you think things go wrong, the worst thing to do, and the statistic will prove me out, is to panic and say, "Okay, we're selling it all." And then, so if you understand the risk and you say, okay, I know that things might go up and might go down because I'm going to be in this for the long run. But I know that 30 years from now, things are going to continually to go rise like that. It's all a matter of education.
That reminds me of a conversation with a friend of mine. He's a UA pilot, 85 years old, going back to work again.
Oh, wow.
And he told me his story. He had quite a handsome amount of money saved, and went to investment or kind of whatever, and met with the risk, the whole thing. He lost everything.
Yeah.
That's why he had to get a job at the age of 85 to start working all over again. So what could I didn't ask him what he did. What could have done in his case?
You know what?
To lose everything.
Yeah, he could have talked to a professional person, a real person who would say to him, no, it's probably not a very good idea to do that. What is your goal? What do you want to accomplish? It's always come back to what do you want to accomplish? And I've said that several times on the show. What do you really want to accomplish here? What do you really want to do? Well, you know, if you want to take the money and you've worked for it, they're not giving it to you. You work for that, and you work long hours.
Judging by the way he talks or he handle things, handle issues, I believe that was he eventually a very educated person.
Yeah.
And has led a very decent life. And I would say that the amount of dollars he lost in the thin air must be huge.
Right.
Must be huge. And for that though, for him to have lost everything overnight must be something very risky that he did.
He must have put his money.
What could that be? I'm just trying to find the thing to, I mean, in nature, trying to let my young people to prevent.
The first thing you need to do to prevent something like that, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. If somebody says to you, I can make 15% in the stock market and do it tomorrow, I don't believe
They're lying.
They're lying.
They must be lying.
Okay, second of all is to control your emotion. Oh my gosh, you and I had a show about Gemcoin. Gemcoin is based on Gemcoin is based on emotion. Oh my gosh, we know about this mine in Dominican Republic. We're going to make millionaires. You know, make investing an emotionalist experience. Second of all, know who you're dealing with. If the person, you know, I have a clean track record. You can look me up, all you want, and find out all about me if you want to. I have a lot of people who I'm a very reputable person. Know who you're dealing with. Know that, and when you invest in a company, you say, okay, like you're investing some startup in this that's in the internet world. Okay, who are these guys? What's their idea? Well, it sounds great to me. What's their business plan? You know, I take a very hard-headed, logical approach to
It's like the art of war.
Yeah.
You got to understand your enemies.
That's right.
Right? You got to know who they are.
Yeah.
You got to know what kind of weapons they have.
Right.
You know who you are.
Right.
What kind of weapons, what kind of man you have.
That's right. And you got to understand that you've got to, first of all, you got to, one of the thing that I try to do, that I work hard at every day is to work on this bridge of trust, where you can trust that what I have to say is based in your best interest. It's not based on my best interest. It's based on your best interest. And legally, that's the way it is right now. And I agree with that. I think it's brilliant that we.
In other words, you are not getting paid with your client by your client.
Yeah.
You're paid by the investment system.
Right.
Am I right?
Exactly. So, but it's not how you get paid. It's a matter of trust, because if a person is a professional in my field, they're trying to be your lifetime advisor, because they know your life's going to change. You're not going to be 22 every day. You're going to be 32 one day, or 42 or whatever, and your life's going to change. So you have to be able.
What if something? I hate to say this. What if something happens to you?
Something happens to me, I already have a mechanism in place. I have partners, people that I work with for a long time.
They all do like that, right?
Yeah. Well, some people do, some people don't. Some people just walk away, no mas, and I'm done. So I prefer not to do that, because I look really a long-term approach. I mean, and when you're a young person, you've got the opportunity to handle the peaks and valleys, to handle the issues that are going to come up, and because I'll tell you, the market's going to drop one of these days. It's happened, but the market's going to go up over a long period of time. It keeps going up.
Eventually, yes. All right. Okay.
So panic.
Thank you very much. I really like this discussion, because it's a referential to my young friends. Those young friends out there, I thank you very much for your concern. And to those of you who wrote to me, I especially thank you very much. That exactly was what triggered me with the second show, to the following up, at which we learned a lot.
Yeah.
Right. So to Steve, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack,
for sharing, and thank you for the knowledge. And we will still be doing it, shall we?
Okay. Anytime.
All right. Very good. Thank you.